And we're back. Great. Okay, listen, this is amazing. I want to thank you for joining me because I can't think of any better way than talking to someone face to face or as close as possible. I thought I'd exchange some emails with you, maybe exchange some texts or whatever, just to get an idea of what your experiences were like in Ukraine. But having a chance to talk about it like this is great. So thanks for joining me. Boy, there's lots to talk about, but let's just jump right into it. You decided to go to Ukraine, I guess, because of everything that started happening in November?
Yeah, I mean, I had done a film about I was there during the Orange Revolution. I had done a film about that called the Orange Chronicles. So I've always been kind of politically involved or interested in what's going on in Ukraine. And yeah, after things exploded, first I tried to find if someone would take me as a stringer. But that didn't really work out. I just decided to go on my own and see what happens.
Excellent. Yes, I do remember watching Orange Chronicles. Excellent little piece of documentary footage and just a nice story. I mean, I really like what you guys did with that. But so here you are, like you go there and did you have this preconceived notion that you're going to be going there and doing some Ustreaming, or was that something that happened when you were there?
I figured that's the only thing I could do that no one else was really doing, was doing, I mean, people were live streaming, but they weren't doing it in English. So there wasn't much coverage on the ground in English. There was a lot in Ukrainian, there was a lot in Russian, and there was a lot in print in English, but as far as video kind of from the ground there, no one was doing that. So I figured that's something that I could do that no one else is doing and would be valuable, because for English speakers who want to know what's going on, it's a lot more, I can tell them, and I can, I'm in a unique position to do that kind of quickly, as I can speak Ukrainian and English. And I think it's kind of nice when you hear someone who's a native English speaker versus, someone trying to speak English not so well.
Yeah. Well, you must have seen by the comments on the Ustream page, and you probably got some other comments. I think people do appreciate it because I'll speak for myself. I definitely thought it was neat. I'm watching Ukrainian television, 25 hours a day these days, and keeping up using sort of the regular methods of trying to figure out what's going on there. It's nice to be able to understand Ukrainian. I'm picking up on a little bit of Russian too, whether I like to or not. But it's something when you're listening to this in Ukrainian, it's something completely different when you're listening to it in English. And when you try and find our regular mainstream media sources here, like CNN, NBC, ABC in Canada here, we've got CBC, CTV, and then from Europe, BBC and Sky News. You're looking for some information on Ukraine, and you're not getting it as much. It's better now, I'll be honest with you. I've been picking up on a lot more these days. But, for someone to be on the ground there, and Ustream is another thing all in itself. I'm picking up about 10 or 15 different Ustreams. Mustafa Nayem is Ustreaming. What's his name? Alexander Ronets is Ustreaming. All these journalists from Ukraine are Ustreaming, and I thought it was great. And then suddenly I see you, and you've got the title that actually caught my eye because it said English commentary. Let's jump right into the day. We can talk about some of the stuff you did before and after this particular event, but I want to jump right into that day. I forget the date exactly, but it's the date of the Автомайдан that was basically supposed to take a couple thousand people along the highway to Yanukovych's palace at Межигір'я. Is that something that you were pre-planning to do when you heard about it? You said, I'm going on this and I'm going to Ustream it?
Oh yeah, for sure, because I'd been there. I got there right after they tried to clear out Maidan on the 11th, on the 14th. So things were really quiet after that. I mean, as far as, action or movement, most of the time I was there was speeches and concerts. So this was something that was more interesting than just kind of standing on Maidan and listening to politicians speak, from a visual storytelling point of view, especially, this action, this caravan, and people were going, one of the things standing on Maidan, it's like, okay, we're in this little bubble, preaching to the choir, and here is this action where all these people are going to Yanukovych's home, or as close as they can get to it, And, you know, that's piercing his comfort zone. I mean, even, you know, yeah, we can't get there, but psychologically, I think that was a really impactful kind of civil disobedience action. You know, having that many people come to your house, knowing where, you know, it definitely has a psychological impact, I think. So it was really cool. And there were so many people that wanted to do that, because people at that time, there was just not much going on, and people wanted action, and they wanted to feel like, you know, they're not just standing there. And, you know, it was very, you know, that so many people joined because of that. Things had just kind of been building up, and, oh, here is this something, you know, this guy originally just posted it on Facebook, and all of a sudden it became a, you know, a big event where thousands of people went, where the opposition leaders went, which initially they had kind of not really supported it.
Right, right. And I thought it was kind of neat to see that this was actually organized by the Автомайдан contingent, whatever you want to call them, the Автомайдан team. But everyone got on board. It was people that probably didn't even know anything about Автомайдан, or not that much about them. Suddenly when, I'm not sure who made the actual call, but I know that there was Serhiy Poyarkov and Andrij Holovatyj and Dmitro Bulatov, who were the three main guys of Автомайдан. I remember that there was a call made from the stage to actually meet at either Europejska or Michałowska Ploshcha, I don't remember which one, and basically it was, you know, let's go from there. So it was kind of nice the way people caught on, right?
Well, there was a Facebook event this guy made who has nothing to do with Automaidan, actually.
Oh. Okay.
He was just kind of like, you know, let's do this just to do something different. And that Facebook event caught on. And then Automaidan caught on after that. And the kid was kind of shocked, you know, because initially he thought maybe he'd get like 100 or something people out there. He just kind of threw the idea out there, and everyone latched onto it because it was a really cool idea.
Okay, I didn't realize actually. Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say I didn't realize that was the genesis. I didn't realize that it was actually someone's, you know, idea on Facebook, and then it kind of...
Yeah, it was just like, I don't know if he was a student or a young activist, but...
Right.
Yeah, he wasn't really affiliated with any Автомайдан organization. He just kind of initiated it on his own, and it organically attracted a lot more support.
Okay, now, were you driving, or were you with friends or family that were driving? How did you get involved in this?
You know, people met at a train station at a stop. I think it was Darn. I'm not sure. I forgot the stop, but it was kind of the closest train stop to Межигір'я. So there was a bunch of people there, and I found a ride there through some mutual friends. But I hadn't planned who I was going to go. I just kind of showed up and found a ride. Actually, through Stefko Bandera's friends.
Okay, wonderful. So I think you know, let's jump into one of the videos that I remember seeing. I think the first one I saw was of you on the road. Not sure at what point it was. It wasn't at the end point where the big rally was happening, 300 meters or so away from Yanukovych's residence. I think this was a lot further back. But I saw that you were on the road. I saw there was a bunch of cars lined up, and it looked to me like you were looking for people that would be able to give English commentary. And I think you were successful, actually, in finding a few people, like locals, that were able to give you some English commentary.
Yeah, there were a couple of people I knew, and you know, I knew they spoke English, so you know, they just happened to be there, and I approached them, and kind of knowing that, oh, here's someone who can speak English and comment on the situation, like Nastya Bezverka. I remember her. She was there, and she was a former PODA spokesperson, and she's still pretty active, but you know, in kind of a different sphere. But yeah, that was where, you know, they had made a police blockade about, I don't know how far it was, but it was about half a mile off the main road that we were on, and that's where everyone gathered.
Mm-hmm. So listen, it's a few weeks after the event. What sticks in your head still today from that?
Well, I mean, not only going there, but going to Medvedchuk's and Azarov's house. You know, because it was spontaneous, and you'd see like these people just kind of wanting. I mean, they shot off fireworks. They did some graffiti with different messages. You know, people banging on the wall. And you could really see people just wanted to physically feel like they needed to vent that anger that had been building up. And I thought it was a very effective action. I mean, you know, Medvedchuk or Bulatov said that he believes Medvedchuk was behind his kidnapping. Because after that incident, Medvedchuk had said if you want to fight, we'll show you how to. If you want a war, we'll show you how to fight, or something to that effect. You know, and of course he's denied it, but he apparently, when he was being questioned, I read that they were asking specifically him about Medvedchuk's residence, the gathering Medvedchuk's residence. So, I mean, I don't know if that's true, but it seemed to really be effective in pissing them off. And I mean, it felt good to be part of that kind of caravan. But interestingly enough, the driver that I was with, he got a call. He got summoned by the court that they want to take away his license for 6 months because he didn't stop when he was pulled over by. He was supposed to pull over for a police officer or a road police. That never happened. I mean, there was never any time a road police officer tried to stop us. I think they must have gone around to the parked cars and taken down license plate numbers. But they want to suspend his license for 6 months.
I got a couple of questions about your gear. Let's move over to what it is that you were actually using. Tell me some of the technology that you had with you there, and then how it all came about.
Well, I saw that, you know, Autonets was doing this live streaming stuff, and it's a pretty new technology to be doing it. So I started trying to figure out how he was doing it and what's involved. And really the easiest way to do it is through a cell phone, because a cell phone automatically will encode the video and connect to a Wi-Fi signal for upstreaming to Ustream. So that's what I ended up doing. I ended up buying a little adapter that I could put my iPhone up and mount it to a monopod that I had, so I didn't have to handhold it, so I could actually get a pretty steady shot. But you know, the sound wasn't so good because the microphone's facing me, and you can't zoom in. And of course, like, the quality is dependent on your Wi-Fi connection, how good your internet signal is. And when we went to Medvedchuk's house and Azarov's house, my internet, I had a portable Wi-Fi device, so I can get internet all the time, but it dropped out. It just wasn't working at either of them, no signal whatsoever, which was frustrating because I couldn't stream.
So you were picking up on a like a 3G signal, right?
I believe it's through the satellite, but yeah, it's probably a 3G signal, but it's not through a phone. It's through an actual, like, a personal hotspot.
Oh, okay, right.
It's a little box. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to, you know, it would be nice if you could just either send me a picture of whatever it was that you had, or just send me an email or a text message.
I actually I left it with Spilno TV in Ukraine. So
is that right?
Yeah, so they could use it because I can't use it here.
Okay, hey, actually, let's a good segue then. So I guess you got to know some of the people that are live streaming there. What can you tell me about Spilno or Autonets? It sounds like you had a chance to network with these people. Yeah,
unfortunately, I wanted to interview Autonets, but he went to Kolomea for the holidays. I didn't get a chance to hook up with him. But the Spilno TV, I ran into an old friend of mine who was in Pora, and he's really involved in Spilno TV. So I met some of those people. And they're, you know, everyone's a volunteer. A lot of their equipment was donated, including they have this kind of bus that they use as their headquarters, where they can warm up, they can have little meetings, and, you know, and there's a computer there where they can get stuff done. And they also had this kind of improvised studio, which was a tent, where they had a light set up, and they would kind of do interviews in that studio. I think they've upgraded it now to this dome, but, you know, essentially they're doing live streaming. You know, they're not like Hromadske, which is a little more high end on the production value, which is more of a studio. They're definitely the more grassroots, you know, live streaming from the front lines.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, I like what they do when they have the setup where the camera's basically on the stage. They've got the long shot showing the stage, and then there's someone there reading the chats that are coming in, like the chat messages that are coming in, and he's basically verbally responding to some of the text chats that are coming in. I thought that's kind of a neat thing too, because he was getting people from all over the world texting into him from different parts of Ukraine, but mostly from Europe and North America. So I thought that was an interesting setup. Are you in touch with these people on a daily basis now, or are you still in touch with them, or?
Not daily basis. Here and there, you know, I check in with them just to kind of see what's going on, if they're still doing it. I mean, one of their guys, like right after things exploded on the 21st. One of their guys went to get gas for their generator, and he got arrested for essentially, basically making Molotov cocktail when he was picking up gas. So, you know, they're kind of, in a sense, they're being targeted as well. So, you know, they're trying to keep a lower profile because, you know, I think he might still be in custody. I'm not sure. I haven't heard the latest about what his situation is. But they've certainly been, you know, very cautious about their activities, and I think they're being targeted for what they're doing.
So when did you go exactly?
To Ukraine?
Yeah. What was the date that you left, and when did you come back?
December 14th to January 9th.
Oh, wow. So you were there for like a good part of the holidays. I mean, you saw Christmas and New Year's and Rіздво and everything, right? Yeah.
I figured if I'm there, I might as well.
So just let me finish about the Ustream part of it. I can see that on your Ustream channel you've got like a good handful of them there. You must have about 20 or 30 videos up.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to shoot something, you know, every day. You know, it was kind of quiet, so I was doing more interviews with different people. You know, at that time there wasn't that much going on, so I wasn't doing it every day as far as the live stream, and I was thinking more in terms of, well, let me shoot something when people come check my channel. You know, they're not going to have an hour of footage to go through, but they're going to have, you know, there'll be like a 5 or 10 minute video, which is something that they'd want to watch even if it's not live. So that's kind of what I had in mind at that time. You know, obviously if there's more action, or if I'd been there when all this stuff was going on in Hrushevskoye, I would have been shooting longer live stream stuff.
Wow, yeah.
But
other than the footage that you have sitting up in the cloud with Ustream, do you have anything that you recorded locally?
Yeah, I have my you know, my more professional camera that I carried with me sometimes, and you know, I shot a lot of B-roll, couple interviews here and there, but there wasn't that much going on this time. And you know, one of the problems was if I'm doing the live streaming, I'm not recording high quality video to my professional camera. But this time I'm going to try a different way. I bought an adapter so I can actually hook it up through an HDMI into my professional camera, and that's supposed to convert the signal so I can Ustream it. So when I go back, the quality, if it works, the quality, you know, both sound and video should be significantly better.
Okay, so the golden phrase, you're going back. When are you going back?
I'm flying back on Tuesday.
Wow.
For about 2 weeks. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And again, you're just going there to do whatever, or do you have more of a plan together this time?
Well, I'm rented an apartment in the center, so I can be a little more accessible there. You know, I want to do more live streaming, obviously. Maybe work more closely with Spilno TV or Kyiv Post. There's a, you know, it kind of depends what happens while I'm there. I mean, if it's kind of quiet like it is now, you know, there might not be that much to film, but if it picks up, which is likely will once this 15-day grace period of the amnesty law expires, which is next week, you know, they could try to remove the protesters from those buildings, which is, you know, what the law says, that they had 15 days to get out of those buildings. So we'll see, but it's definitely a much more dangerous and risky situation than when I was there before.
Yeah, for sure.
Know, journalists being targeted and people being kidnapped. So, you know, I'll have to assess the situation and then, you know, try to stay arm's length away from, you know, getting seriously hurt at the same time. I mean, my nature is to get right up front there, so I'm going to have to fight that instinct of, you know, getting as close to the action as I can, and be a little cautious too, because it's, you know, that's something I think I'm going to have to adapt to initially if those kind of circumstances happen again. Yeah, so I think you have kind of tough thing you had to deal with is that you're American in Kyiv as well, and you know, how much do you know about the fact that you might be a marked person there? Well, I mean, I hope that being an American, you know, actually give me a little bit of protection, because, you know, American gets injured or targeted in some way, you know, that could really be more of an international scene where
that's true. There's a double-edged sword to that. You're right. You're right.
So, you know, I mean, you've always felt that you get a little, you know, the Ukrainians get treated differently than Westerners there do. Yeah. So, you know, whether that holds true or, you know, we'll see. But I think, you know, they might be less like, if they know American, they might be less likely, you know, to do something. But that doesn't mean some sniper up here or some shrapnel or anything, something like that, you know. Mm-hmm. It's not going to differentiate my citizenship, or, you know.
Well, listen, we got to touch base before you go. Worst case scenario, if we aren't able to touch base, then I guess we'll be able to keep in touch by some type of texting. I mean, I'd like to work something out so that when you're on the ground there, we can actually hook up and you know, do an interview from there. I've already got some contacts with some English-speaking journalists at Espresso TV and Hromadske and Piatый Kanal that I'm going to be trying to do some things regularly with. So for sure, when you're over there, let's keep in touch and let's see if we can hook up while you're over there. So let's jump away from Ukraine for the last part of this. I just wanted to ask you quickly about what's happening in New York City. I guess you're in New York City?
Yeah, I'm in New York.
Where exactly?
I live in the East Village, which is the old Ukrainian neighborhood.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, so like Lis Maketa and all that.
Yeah, Lis Maketa, Svятого Юра, you know, I mean, the church is here, the school is here, still a couple restaurants, Veselka, the Plast Dumilka, the Sum Dumilka.
I know your handle is DK Vogue. Is Vogue Vokulaka?
No, it was just Vogue like Wolf.
Oh, okay.
Are you with Plast or Sum or anything?
I was with Plast, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so...
Well, actually, I still am, so, yeah.
Yeah, been to Vogue
many times. And,
yeah, me too.
So, okay, so...
What I wanted to ask you about was, like, what's happening in the New York City scene with respect to Euro-Maidan. I mean, we've been following some of the protests that were happening in the city. I know Klitschko was there the other day. How do you feel about what New York City is doing with respect to supporting Euro-Maidan?
People here are very active. You know, there have been demonstrations in the past, but the demonstrations now have been really well attended. I mean, beginning before I left, there was definitely, you know, 500 to 1,000 people at a demonstration, which is pretty high for New York, I'd say. You know, usually you get like maybe 150, 200. So there were some that were definitely over 1,000 people. And there's certain groups that have kind of been very active. You know, one is UKK, Ukrainsky Kongresovy Komitet. There's another group that recently formed called Razom, which is, you know, kind of younger activists, you know, a lot who were born in Ukraine but have been here for a number of years. You know, they're young professionals and they're very well organized and motivated, and they really, you know, they've done some fundraising, raising tens of thousands of dollars, and they have a whole network of how to get that money to where it needs to go in Ukraine. And they do something every weekend. So, you know, this weekend they asked me to curate, put together a program of different videos relating to Euro-Maidan, short films, news clips, which we're going to be doing at the Ukrainian Museum. So that should be pretty interesting. And last weekend they had a forum just to kind of decide and talk about what they can be doing next, how to organize. And, you know, I'm pretty impressed. It's nice to see that there's that many people that are kind of involved. And, you know, you spend so much time online looking at different things and talking to people online. It's nice to have some FaceTime with people. You meet just for kind of this moral support, and you meet new people and new ideas. So it seems like the community here is pretty active, especially, you know, kind of the newer immigrant.
Yeah, I mean, I could say the same for Toronto. I think everyone's pretty hyped about it here. Everyone's getting involved in something, whether it's you know, being at a rally or doing something sort of more on their own. It's nice. It's a nice sort of community feeling. I think we could use a little bit more coordination here. I'm not sure what it's like where you are, if you're happy with the way things are being centrally coordinated, or do you think that that's something that's lacking a little bit?
Ukrainians always need better coordination.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Yeah. You know, like, you know, they have different people, don't want to work with these people or those people, so you know, there are simultaneous actions going on.
Yeah.
But that's not the worst thing. But, you know, definitely, and it's hard. It's hard to coordinate. But, you know, I think Facebook has helped a lot. And you know, especially, you know, like say that the Twitter storm, you know, things like that, where it's become, you know, certain Facebook pages have enabled people to coordinate more easily than they would have in the past.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, one of the discussions I had the other day with Dr. Richard Harichuk, who was actually in the same time, he was in Ukraine at the same time you were, but he was there very, very briefly. He was there for about a, I don't know, 48-hour period or so. He went specifically to try and help Tatiana Chornovol, because when he had heard what happened to her, it kind of sparked him to just jump on a plane and go do something. And he was actually successful. He got there and he found her. He got a ride out to her place outside of Kyiv there, and he spent a few hours with her. Was lucky enough to actually contact CBC Radio here in Canada, and he did an interview live, or not live, but I mean he did an interview with a show that recorded him and then, you know, put it on later. It was a show called As It Happens. They do a lot of nice current affairs type stuff. So basically it was an interview with Tatiana Chornovol, but because she doesn't speak English, Richard was translating for her. Really nice thing. And I know Richard from way back, and when he came back I hooked up with him, and we've been kind of working on some things to try and see what we can do at this end. He started a really nice initiative. It's on Facebook. I think you're a member already. It's called Maidan Watch. And the point of the group is to have a sort of a personal connection with the people that are on Maidan and kind of risking their lives and sort of putting their ass on the line. Basically the idea is to kind of you know, adopt someone who's there and see if you can stick with them and communicate with them on a daily basis and make sure that they check in. What's that?
What's that?
I just said I haven't seen that. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so it's sort of in the startup phase right now. We're trying to get more people in on it, but eventually it'll you know, hopefully be rolling nicely. So listen, I don't know, is there anything you want to throw at me, or is there anything you want to cover quickly that I didn't throw at you, or should we call this a day today and check in again in a couple of days?
Yeah, I mean, you know, once I'm there, I'll definitely have a better feeling of what's going on. Yeah, I think we covered everything. I mean, you know, everyone's staying active and getting motivated, so it's good to see. I mean, you know, it's hard to think or know what's going to happen next, because everyone's, you know, the protesters know if they go home, Yanukovych stays in president, they're kind of, you know, in danger of being prosecuted. And Yanukovych knows if he calls new elections and he loses, he's also in danger of getting prosecuted. So, you know, everyone's in kind of like a no-win, you know, where there's not much leeway for compromise.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well listen, let's leave it at that. Thanks for joining me. I'll send you my contact information just so that you have everything handy, and I'm really looking forward to hooking up with you when you're in Ukraine. What really drew me to you in the first place was this whole notion of you doing English commentary on Ustream as you're you know, sort of transmitting live events back to the world. I thought that was fantastic, a great idea, and you know, if there's anything we can do together to expand on that, I'd like to help you with that, and hopefully we'll be able to keep in touch.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks
Slava
for having me.
Ukraini.
Героям слава.
All right, see ya.
See ya.